Have you ever heard of Blue Studios and Bella the Blue Bott? If you haven't, you're in for a treat today because we're going to look at the power of storytelling. Number 2, putting a face to tech. And lastly, the power of cuteness. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So before we jump into the story, I just want to remind you really quick that the newsletter is back and you can sign up for that absolutely free, niftybusinessweek.com. Of course, that will be in the show notes, but let's dive into the story. So it's well documented that storytelling and character building and IP is very important. Of course, Disney has made a multi-billion-dollar empire off of this for generations. Of course, starting with Mickey Mouse, Peter Pan, all these different IPs, whether they're borrowed from historical stories or original characters that we see, such as Woody and Buzz Lightyear and all those in the Pixar galaxy. Then, of course, they acquired Marvel and all these different things, and it's all about the storytelling that draws people in to what's going on. And it's very interesting that I was recently reading this book called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And in it, he describes that we can blur the lines within our minds of reality from fiction. When we're watching a captivating movie, we're just pulled into it. So when James Bond is on a high-speed car chase or something crazy is happening, it is very hard to tell the difference between what's reality and what is not. The better the story, the more senses that are interacted with and so forth, we literally get sucked into it. We don't see the room around us. We don't see the people that we're with in the theater or anything of that nature. It feels like we're literally in the car with James Bond or whatever action is going on in the screen. So the same thing can happen with a powerful story. So a lot of times when you're sitting by a campfire or whatever it might be, someone's telling a story, might be their most embarrassing moment, something crazy that happened at work or on stage, we literally get sucked into it. We don't even necessarily have to have that big 40, 50 foot screen before us. It's almost like our mind transports to what is being told. So it's very interesting that within this whole IP space and all the tech that we're building, storytelling is at the center of it. And the reason why I bring up this is because recently I've been following Blue Studios on Twitter, and they have this character called Bella the Blue Bott. And when you first look at it, it's like, okay, whatever. It's just another 3D character with attractive eyes. However, they're building her out and telling a full captivating story. Of course, with Spider-Man and all these different movies that are coming out and a lot of people are speaking about, of course, they use that as the entry point and they're showing exactly what is going on there, her first experience watching movies. And last night, I was just scrolling through the timeline as I was getting some work done, I was getting some breaks, and I see that she's having a lo-fi chill and study room. So you click that link, I went over to the YouTube page, and it's playing this really relaxing, cooled out vibe music, and she's sitting there tapping on the laptop and doing her work. So it's almost like I got drawn into it. While I'm working on my laptop, I look over to the right, and I see this YouTube screen of Bella on her laptop. So it literally felt like I had a co-working partner. The music was really relaxing, so of course, I didn't want to just close out the music. So I just left that on there on the second screen. And every now and then I just looked over and I see here they're tapping away at the keys. So it was just really cool. And I honestly just sort of got lost in the moment. But the cool thing about this whole thing is the experience of it, what they're building out here. They're making this bot, this Bella the Bot. It's not just watching a video. They're giving her personality. They gave her a name. They're giving her a life. They're putting us on a journey. And it's like I'm getting drawn into the story. And honestly, it is no different than some of my Web3 friends that I'm meeting on Twitter and what have you. It's like I've met Bella through the Twitter feed. And now I am a fan of Bella, just what's going on here as she's being introduced to the world and they're building up this IP and the character. It was really drawing me in. I am a sucker for a story and they have great things that are going on here. So now that they have my attention, it's like, okay, what exactly is going on here? What is behind Bella, the Blue Bott, Blue Studios, and everything that they're doing? We go down that rabbit hole, we check out to see exactly what's going on here, and at the heart of it is an educational platform. They're teaching people all about coding and Web3 and all this interesting stuff in a very fun and entertaining way. But most importantly, what I find very interesting is a lot of the content is geared towards children. They have 24/7 YouTube channels channels speaking about tech, science, and all this stuff. And it's just really cool what's going on here. Got my attention. I went down that rabbit hole, literally spent hours, of course. It was really cool to see what they're building here, supporting families and children and just teaching all this stuff way before the curve. And often I speak about the education, the need for education, especially, where I am in Jamaica, right? A lot of people are coming out and they're looking for the government to do some sort of program to create more jobs and what have you. But as far as education, I'm not talking about going to more college and getting yourself more in debt. I'm talking about learning tech, learning the skills of the future, AI, blockchain technology, coding, and so forth. And that's what this is all about. However, masked and wrapped around all of this is this face, this beautiful face of Bella the Blue Bott. Although she is a 3D animated character on a screen going on this journey, it's like I am sucked into it. And as I said, I feel like it is a real person. I want to learn from her. I want to grow with her. I want to work with her. And it's just very cool how they're setting this up. So it is very important to not only put the face in tech as what we always talk about with Web3, having NFT projects with Docs founders that are there speaking in Twitter spaces, have their LinkedIn profiles and so forth. But even the tech itself, it is personable. Although this is an educational platform, there's content being created, this is a studio and labs and all this stuff is in there. At the heart of it is a personable face. This is Bella as a person. Although I know she's a 3D character on a screen, but you get emotionally attached, just like those Disney Pixar movies. You're watching Nemo on his journey to go find his father or whatever it might be. It's like you're sucked into the story. When Bruce the shark or whoever it is in any of these stories pops up, that villain, that ominous music starts to play, you literally feel like you're there. You're rooting for those characters. And as I'm sitting here and I'm working with Bella and I'm going through my work and I'm doing this and I'm looking over at the other screen and I'm just feeling this lo-fi vibes. It's like, man, this is so cool. It's a very interesting dynamic. And this is not even 3D. This is not with, the Apple Vision Pro goggles. I don't have MetaQuest goggles on or anything. It's just literally a screen. So where this is going to go in the future is going to be even more impressive. But now, as far as this is not just a face, but the power of cuteness itself, it is so interesting right here. What we're seeing with, say, the Pudgy Penguins, even the Chibis, which I am a huge fan of and why I'm so bullish on them, those cute faces that anyone can go to. And again, I still can't remember who exactly I heard say it, but the return on cuteness is just a real thing, right? Some of these really degen type of projects with ugly faces, such as the Bored Apes, yeah, I know they're a massive multi-billion-dollar company. However, even when you compare the value of those to the mutants, you can definitely see there is a huge gap. The mutants are extremely ugly, not as friendly. It is a very niche, acquired taste to actually like what a mutant ape looks like. The Bored Apes are kind of hard to look at. Don't get me wrong, but definitely the mutants are even that much harder. So these faces that are cute, it's just much more inviting. You can bring in children. You can bring in all sorts of people. Because I can tell you, I can show Bella and what's being built here to my mother. I can't bring a mutant to my mother. So she's going to look at that and she's just going to be gross. She's going to be repulsed. My sisters, when I initially started speaking about NFTs and Web3 and crypto and all this stuff, she's like, oh, you mean those ugly monkeys? So we're talking about 2 years ago. And that was what the response was. And she just thought everything that was happening in Web3 are these ugly monkeys. But with this, tying everything together now, we have an educational platform. We're teaching the next generation. We're putting the power of storytelling. You're just drawn into Bella as a character, as a person. And the fact that she has such a cute, welcoming, friendly face, it's just such a cool experience. So I'm really excited to see where Blue Studios goes. I'm really expecting some big things out of the studio simply because we know we have an onboarding problem. We know that we have an identity crisis going on in with Web3. A lot of people think that it's just a bunch of millennial degens that are just flipping around doing all sorts of crazy stuff. This is clearly thought out, well-funded. This is obviously someone who knows what they're doing. And I looked on the founders page. Her name is Kelly Cambry. See that she's a serial entrepreneur from a family of entrepreneurs. So it really shows that she is business minded. This is not someone who is just diving into this stuff, not really thinking of things and just degenning into things, but really has put a lot of thought and consideration into what's being built here. So things like this, again, putting a face to it. Here is a person that is putting their name, their identity, to what's going on here. And I think it is just very interesting. And as a matter of fact, it took the words right out of my mouth. I just pulled up on the screen here, most inspirational women in Web3 and the metaverse. She won this award. So yes, it is very inspirational, very inspiring, very cool. So this is something to keep an eye on. And I just love to hear your feedback on this. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.